I love being able to say that we are going to be playing European football yet again. It's a beautiful thing, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. It's also a bit complicated. You've got the Champions League, of course, and your Europa League and the Conference League. The levels to this are there, but not all of them are where we want to be just yet. Today, I'm going to break down which European competition actually makes the most sense for where we are at right now. And trust me, it's not just about prestige, it's about progress and long term growth. It's the Newcastle United Digest. Let's go, everybody. Hello, everybody, and welcome out to the Newcastle United Digest, the channel delivering you Toon content in bite sized chunks. My name is Adam Snyder, and this episode is going to be all about European football and the run into the rest of the season. Right now, Eddie Howe's Mags are on point. They are on track to qualify for European football, and it is amazing to see. And we also have the Conference League as our safety backup option for next season. But before we talk about the European competitions, let's recap where we have come from in a very short time. For many years, my friends and I would be trying to work out all of the scenarios where Newcastle can escape from relegation. Quite a lot of my friends are a bit on the nerdy side, so we've all had our spreadsheets out. Formulas determine the number of points we need for safety, how many points that we have possible left, how many points every team around us can possibly get. And we discuss this constantly, as well as whatever our strength of schedule is compared to everybody else around us, yada, yada, yada. If you're like me, you've probably done the same exact thing too. A lot of those seasons were really tense. And unfortunately, we had one season in 2015-16 where we didn't quite make it out. And even Rafa Benitez couldn't save us from the drop. Fast forward a few years, and we're sitting at the exact opposite end of the table. 2 years ago, we got our first taste of building spreadsheets for a very different reason. How soon can we say we've clinched Champions League football? Right now, we're back in that spot. Since our last trip to the Champions League, the format has changed dramatically, and it's worth noting these changes if you've not paid attention to the competition itself. I will cover what's changed in not just the Champions League format, but all the European formats as well, the pros and cons of the three competitions, and I'll tell you what I believe is our best fit for next season. Now, currently, there are three competitions that are run by UEFA for club football. Obviously, you have the Champions League, you have the Europa League, which has been around for a while in a couple of different names, and a recent addition is the Conference League. They all share the same format, and the way it works is that you have countries that will try to qualify through playoff rounds. These will start happening even as early as July into August. The way you're in that part of the competition is based on your club's and your country's coefficient rating. And that coefficient rating is based on how well your club and how well your domestic league has fared in UEFA competitions. The higher the coefficient, the less likely you are to have to qualify. Fortunately, the Premier League teams have done well enough where in the Champions League and Europa League, we don't have to qualify. We just go right into the league stage. And in the Conference League, the League Cup winners in the Conference League, England's League Cup winners enter the final playoff stage where they must win a two-leg tie to advance to the latest iteration of every UEFA competition, the league stage. This league stage replaces the old group stage, which each team was broken into groups, similar to what you see in the World Cup and the Euros. Now, every team is thrown into the same standings, and and every team draws 8 opponents to play, 6 in the Conference League, and you have an equal number of home and away matches, and you don't play the same opponent twice. This is very different from the group stage where you play each team home and away once. So that was 6 matches in a 4-team group. At the end of the stage is where things get really interesting. Teams first through eighth automatically qualify for the round of 16 in that first real big knockout round. Teams 9 through 24 enter another two-leg playoff against another team where the winners make up the final 8 spots for the round of 16. Teams 25 through 36 are eliminated. And if you're in the Champions League or the Europa League, unlike years past, your season is done in European football. You don't drop down to the next league. In the playoff round, the teams are drawn at random. And then once that round is done, the round of 16 field is set. And then everyone is drawn and placed into a bracket format. This is different from the English domestic tournaments where they draw the opponents every single round. From the round of 16 through the semifinal, the winner is determined over a two-leg home and away tie. Unlike the previous formats, away goals no longer count as a tiebreaker. And if you're able to survive to the final, you play a single game in a neutral venue that changes every year. Now that you've been refreshed with the format of the tournaments, let's compare these competitions and where I see is the best fit for Newcastle. But before we dive into the different competitions, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you are not a subscriber yet. And also hit that notification bell so you get notified anytime I release a new video. Let's talk about those competitions. And we're going to start at the bottom of the UEFA hierarchy and the newest tournament, the Conference League. This league came into existence in the 2021-22 season, and it gives more teams the opportunity to vie for a European trophy. Because you're dealing with teams from lower coefficient countries, the English teams that qualify have been very big fish in a very small pond. They automatically enter as contenders, and English teams have gone deep in this tournament the first 2 years of it. And in 2023, West Ham won this tournament as well. It's one of the more grueling tournaments to win, though. The miles that can be required to travel for this tournament are very long. Imagine you are a team that, let's use MLS as an example. Let's say that you are a team like the LA Galaxy or LAFC, and you have to travel to New York to play somebody like the Red Bulls or NYCFC. Play that game that starts at 9 p.m. Eastern, fly it back immediately afterward, and then play El Tráfico on Sunday. That's the Conference League in a nutshell. You have grueling travel and then a really short turnaround for your next league game 2 days later. That's a really, really tough schedule to play. Your reward for this? The smallest prize pool of the 3 tournaments. Earning a berth in the league stage will yield you 3.17 euros, and at the time of this recording, that converts to about 2.7 million pounds or $3.47 million. There are further bonuses for winning and drawing matches in the league stage, as well as bonuses for advancing every round. Assuming you go undefeated in the competition, you can earn up to 17.57 million euros, about 50 million pounds, and a little over $19 million US. That's less than 15% of what you can earn for finishing dead last in the Premier League while playing nearly a full half season of additional matches. That can take a real toll on your squad if you're not very deep. After finishing the top half of the table to qualify for this tournament, the year West Ham won it, they finished 14th in the league because of this. One can assume the additional revenue from extra match days and the additional sponsorship monies won't be that big either. Adding the amount of wiggle room Newcastle currently has to spend, and you're looking at a recruitment strategy that's heavily geared toward finding young, possibly raw talent and molding them into what Eddie Howe wants and needs for his squad. There's a lot of risk with this strategy when you're trying to find diamonds in the rough that have not proven themselves in the Premier League or on a European stage. However, if you do it right, you can be like what Chelsea's done this year. They're currently in the quarterfinals of this tournament, and they've played mostly their youth side the entire time. But it's Chelsea. They buy every youth player, so of course they've got a full youth team that can play this tournament. And if you're not like them, probably the next best bet is to play in the Europa League. This competition was formerly known as the UEFA Cup, and it is a competition Newcastle was very familiar with. When it was known as the UEFA Cup in the 03-04 season, they were semifinalists, and they were also quarterfinalists in this competition in the 04-05 and 2012-13 seasons. As everything stands, Newcastle have a very good chance to qualify for the league stage in this tournament. On paper, it sounds like less football, but the increased number of league stage matches, which is 8 compared to 6 in the Conference League, means potentially 19 more matches in this competition. That's half a season in the Premier League. And you have the same travel rigors from the Conference League that apply to this tournament as well. You can be flying from Newcastle to places like Turkey and a whole lot of places in Eastern Europe that are very, very far away from Newcastle. Combine that with tougher competition, and you're dealing with very different caliber of player you're looking at in the next 2 transfer windows, at least. You want to have a good blend of future talent as well as some ready-to-perform players that can do a solid job when called upon. be it domestically or in a European competition. The starting prize money for this competition increases by 35% over the Conference League, and the prizes that you get for winning and drawing matches in the league stage also increase significantly. And the bonuses that you get for each run you advance to the knockout stage also double over the Conference League. Make it deep in this tournament, and you are setting up next year's recruitment to further solidify yourself in this tournament, or even bolstering up your squad to compete in the Champions League and do a good job and not just crash out in the league stage. And lastly is the big daddy of them all, the Champions League. When fans, players, and press talk about playing European football, this is the tournament they talk about. It's the biggest tournament of them all, complete with the largest prize pool by a long shot. Of the prize money that UEFA allocates to these three tournaments, 90% of the prize money goes to this competition. So that makes it very worthwhile to qualify for it. To put it into perspective, earning a spot in the league stage of this tournament earns you more money than going undefeated in the Conference League. And the travel is typically not as bad as the other two competitions either. Most of the flights are to places like Germany, France, Spain, Italy, which are much shorter journeys. The competition levels, however, significantly ramp up in this tournament. You're going up against the biggest teams in Europe. That should not have to be said, but I'm going to say it anyway. We're talking about Real Madrid's, Bayern Munich's, PSG's, AC Milan's. And as Newcastle fans who are in Newcastle, these are some of the highest sought after away day destinations, and we know how much Geordies love to party in a foreign city. Just look at the scenes from our times in Dortmund, Paris, and especially Milan from 2 years ago. In order to go deep in this tournament, you need a very deep squad. You need almost two full strength, top caliber starting 11s in your squad to make a big run. Or you're sacrificing yourself in other competitions like the Premier League or the FA Cup or the League Cup. You will have to spend big on star players to do this. And right now, I don't think Newcastle's revenue bases make this a sustainable option to go deep in this tournament. As much as I love seeing Newcastle in the Champions League, the logo on our shirt sleeve, and the Champions League theme blasting out at St. James Park, I don't think next year is the best time for us to enter this tournament. In fact, 2 years ago, I don't think it was the right time for us either. We were pretty decimated the last time out with a lot of injuries, playing the same squad because we didn't have the depth to compete in the Champions League, the League Cup, and the FA Cup. We just didn't have the depth to do it. And right now, we have the fifth oldest squad in the Premier League. And we have a lot of contracts that are coming up and are going to be expiring either this year or next year. And when you have that crossroads coming right now, and the money that is being reported that Newcastle has to spend, I don't think the Champions League is the best place for us. I'd love to see it, and the money would be nice, but I don't think that the big boost of money from the Champions League is going to be worth it and will offset what I think we'll lose in the Premier League as well. This is where I think making it into the Europa League is just fine and probably the best option for us. It gives us the opportunity to think both short and long term when it comes to building out our squad, and allows us to flex our muscles in a tournament that we've had historic success. It might not be the answer that you want to hear or believe, but I truly believe this is the best place while the squad regroups and ascends to higher success. So what do you think? Do you think the Europa League is the best place for us, or should we be going for that big money grab in the Champions League and however long we last in it is just gravy? Let me know in the comments, shoot me a DM, and let me know what you think. I'd love to have this conversation with all of you in the comments or anywhere else. I'm looking forward to that, and I'm looking forward to bringing you a whole lot more content here very soon. So until next time, this is Adam Snyder saying, "Ahoy the lads." Bye for now.